The mockery, the great hall of the Galactic Council, buzzed with the familiar sounds of 1,000 different species. Ambassador Krell of the Vorthan Empire stood at the center podium, his forearms gesturing dramatically as he addressed the assembly. His voice carried across the chamber with practiced authority. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," Krell began, his tone dripping with amusement, "we gather today to discuss the most amusing development in recent memory. The humans have submitted yet another application for advanced technology sharing." A wave of laughter rippled through the crowd. The insectoid delegates from Hive Prime clicked their mandibles in what passed for chuckling among their kind. The crystalline beings from the shard worlds rang like wind chimes. Their version of mirth. Captain Reed sat in the human delegation section, his jaw clenched as he watched the spectacle unfold. Beside him, Dr. Kane adjusted her glasses and whispered, "They're doing it again." "Every time," Reed muttered back. "Every single time we ask for help, they treat us like children playing with toys." Ambassador Veld from the Aquatic Consortium rose from her water-filled chamber. Her translator device crackled to life. "The humans request access to seventh-dimensional technology. They claim they need it for faster space travel." She paused for effect. "The same species that still uses chemical rockets for their primary propulsion." The laughter grew louder. A delegate from the Ethereal Collective, a being of pure energy barely contained within a force field, spoke in harmonious tones. "They cannot even master fourth-dimensional manipulation. How do they expect to handle seventh-dimensional principles?" Reed stood up, his chair scraping against the floor. The sound cut through the laughter like a blade. "If I may address the council," he said, his voice steady despite the anger burning in his chest. Krell waved one of his arms dismissively. "Of course, Captain Reed. Please enlighten us with more human mism." Reed walked to the speaking platform, feeling the weight of 1,000 alien eyes upon him. "We may be young compared to your civilizations," he began, "but we learn fast. We adapt. We overcome." "Overcome?" Vel's translator conveyed her amusement. "Your species has been spacefaring for barely 2 centuries. The Vorthan Empire has been exploring the galaxy for 50,000 years. The Hive Prime has mastered dimensional technology for longer than your planet has existed. And yet," Reed continued, "we're the ones who discovered the quantum bridge phenomenon. We're the ones who found the solution to dark matter manipulation. We're the ones who stumbled upon a few lucky accidents," Krell interrupted. "Your species has a talent for bumbling into discoveries. We'll give you that. But understanding? True comprehension? That requires wisdom that comes with age." Dr. Kane joined Reed at the platform. "What about our work on consciousness transfer? Our breakthroughs in biological enhancement? Our development of crude imitations," said the ethereal delegate. "You copy what you observe without understanding the underlying principles. You are like children who have learned to repeat words without grasping their meaning." The council chamber erupted in agreement. Species from across the galaxy voiced their support for keeping advanced technology away from humanity. The mechanical collective's representative, a towering robot named Unit 7, spoke in electronic tones. "Humans are dangerous in their ignorance. They wage war upon themselves. They destroy their own planet. They cannot be trusted with power beyond their comprehension." Reed felt his composure slipping. "We've made mistakes, yes, but we've learned from them. We've grown. You've proven our point," Krell said, his voice cutting through Reed's words. "A mature species does not need to learn from destroying their home world. A mature species does not wage war for resources when the galaxy offers abundance. A mature species does not reach for power they cannot handle." The vote was swift and unanimous. The Council denied humanity's request for seventh-dimensional technology, just as they had denied every previous request for advanced knowledge. The humans were to remain in their corner of the galaxy, playing with their primitive toys, while the adults handled the serious business of galactic civilization. As the council session ended, Reed and Kane walked back to their quarters in the diplomatic sector. The corridors were filled with beings who had witnessed humanity's latest humiliation. Some offered sympathetic looks, but most simply ignored them. "They'll regret this," Kane said quietly. Reed nodded. "They think they know us. They think they understand what humans are capable of." He paused at the window overlooking the vast space station. "They're about to learn they're very, very wrong." Unknown to the Council, deep in the classified research facilities of Earth, Dr. Morgan and her team were putting the finishing touches on humanity's greatest secret. The laughter of the galaxy would soon turn to stunned silence. 3 months after the Council's rejection, Dr. Morgan stood in the depths of the Cheyenne Mountain Research Complex, watching her life's work take shape. The facility hummed with activity as hundreds of Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock on Project Breakthrough. "Status report," Morgan called to her team leader, Dr. Blake, who was monitoring the massive dimensional array before them. Blake wiped sweat from his forehead. "The 7th dimensional matrix is stable. We've achieved consistent field generation for 48 hours straight. The theoretical framework is sound, but—" He paused, looking at the readings. "The power requirements are enormous. We're talking about draining half the planet's energy grid for a single jump." Morgan nodded grimly. "And the Council thinks we're too primitive to handle this technology." She gestured to the massive chamber around them. "They have no idea what human determination can accomplish." The project had begun in secret 5 years ago, immediately after the Council's first rejection of humanity's technology request. While the galaxy's elder races had dismissed human capabilities, they had overlooked one crucial factor. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their wisdom. It was their stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Dr. Hayes, the project's lead physicist, approached with a tablet full of calculations. "The dimensional mathematics are unlike anything we've encountered. Normal space-time operates in 4 dimensions. 5th and 6th dimensions are where most alien FTL technology operates. But the 7th dimension—" She shook her head in amazement. "It's not just about distance. It's about possibility itself." "Explain it in simple terms," Morgan requested. Hayes pulled up a holographic display. "Imagine reality as a vast ocean. 4th dimensional travel is like swimming on the surface. 5th and 6th dimensions are like diving deeper, where you can move faster but still follow the same basic rules. The 7th dimension is like stepping outside the ocean entirely. From there, you can see the whole thing at once and step back in anywhere you choose." Blake looked up from his console. "Which is why the Council is so protective of it. A species with 7th dimensional capability could theoretically appear anywhere in the galaxy instantaneously. They could be everywhere at once. Or nowhere at all," Hayes added quietly. "The risks are enormous. One miscalculation, and you could scatter your atoms across multiple dimensions. Or worse, you could create a cascade effect that destabilizes local space-time." Morgan walked to the observation window overlooking the test chamber. Inside, a small probe sat ready for humanity's first 7th dimensional jump. "The Council thinks we're reckless. They think we don't understand the dangers." She turned back to her team. "They're right. We don't fully understand the dangers. But we understand something they've forgotten." "What's that?" Blake asked. "Sometimes you have to take risks to move forward. They've become so comfortable with their advanced technology that they've forgotten what it means to push boundaries. They've forgotten what it means to evolve." The communication system crackled to life. "Dr. Morgan, we have a priority message from the surface. Captain Reed is requesting an immediate status update." Morgan activated the secure channel. Reed's face appeared on the screen, looking haggard from his recent return from the council chambers. "Doctor, I need to know if we're ready." "The council just denied our request for antimatter technology. They're not just keeping us from seventh-dimensional capabilities. They're actively trying to keep us primitive." "We're close, Captain. The probe tests have been successful. We're ready to begin human trials within the week." Reed's expression hardened. "I've been authorized to expedite the timeline. The President wants a demonstration as soon as possible. The Council is planning to establish a monitoring station in our solar system. They want to ensure we don't develop anything they haven't approved." Morgan felt a chill run down her spine. Monitoring station? That's essentially martial law. "It's worse than that," Reed continued. "I've received intelligence that they're considering forcibly relocating humanity to a designated reservation system. They want to keep us contained until they decide we're mature enough for galactic society." The research team exchanged worried glances. Blake spoke first. "How long do we have?" "The monitoring station arrives in 2 months. The relocation proposal goes to vote in 6 months." Reed's voice was grim. "If we're going to prove ourselves, it has to be soon." Morgan looked at her team, then back at Reed. "Give us 1 month. We'll have a working prototype ready for human trials. If the Council wants to treat us like children, we'll show them what human children can accomplish when they put their minds to it." As Reed's transmission ended, Morgan turned to her team. "Double all shifts. I want round-the-clock progress. We're not just building a ship, we're building humanity's future." The USS Defiance hung in the darkness of space beyond Pluto's orbit, its sleek hull reflecting the distant light of the sun. Unlike any ship humanity had ever built, the Defiance was designed with one purpose: to prove that humans could master seventh-dimensional travel. Captain Miller stood on the bridge, watching the final pre-jump checks being completed. Around him, his crew of 30 worked with quiet efficiency. They all knew they were about to make history, or become the first humans to die in dimensional space. "All systems green," reported Lieutenant Torres from the navigation station. "Dimensional. Matrix is stable. Power levels are at maximum sustainable output." Dr. Morgan's voice crackled through the comm system from the research station. "Captain, this is your final chance to abort. The theoretical models show a 60% chance of success. Those aren't terrible odds, but they're not good either." Miller keyed his communicator. "Doctor, what are the odds of humanity surviving as a free species if we don't do this?" There was a pause, significantly lower than 60%. "Then we jump." The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of the dimensional drive powering up. Through the viewports, space itself seemed to shimmer as the seventh-dimensional field generated around the ship. Reality began to bend at the edges of perception. "Entering seventh-dimensional space in 10 seconds, Torres announced. 5.3.2. The universe exploded into impossible colors. Miller felt his consciousness stretched across dimensions he couldn't comprehend. For a moment that lasted eternity, he existed in all possible states at once. He was on the bridge. He was scattered across the galaxy. He was one with the cosmic background radiation itself. Then, suddenly, they were elsewhere. "Status report." Miller called out, grateful to hear his own voice working again. "All systems operational," Torres replied, her voice slightly shaken. "But Captain ... you need to see this." Miller looked at the main screen and felt his breath catch. They were no longer in the empty space beyond Pluto. They were in the heart of the galaxy, surrounded by the sprawling megastructures of the Galactic Council's core worlds. "How long was the jump?" Miller asked. "According to our chronometers, instantaneous," Torres replied. But the dimensional stress readings suggest we experienced approximately 3 minutes of subjective time. Miller smiled grimly. So we can travel 20,000 light years in 3 minutes. I'd say that's a successful test. A celebration was cut short by an urgent communication from the surface. Captain Miller, this is Dr. Morgan. We're reading massive energy signatures from the Council core worlds. They've detected your arrival. Before Miller could respond, the Defiance's communication system activated on its own. The familiar four-armed figure of Ambassador Krell appeared on the main screen, but his usual arrogance was replaced by something Miller had never seen before. Fear. Human vessel. Krell's voice was tight with barely controlled panic. You will explain how you achieved seventh-dimensional travel. This is impossible. Your species lacks the technological foundation for such capabilities. Miller stood and faced the screen. Ambassador Krell, I'm Captain Miller of the USS Defiance. We're here to demonstrate that humanity is ready for full membership in the galactic community. This is a violation of galactic law. Krell's voice rose. Seventh-dimensional technology is restricted to species with proven dimensional stability. You could have destroyed entire star systems with a miscalculation. But we didn't, Miller replied calmly. We succeeded. Just like we succeeded in discovering quantum bridges. Just like we succeeded in developing consciousness transfer technology. Just like we succeed in everything you said we couldn't do. The screen flickered as other council members joined the transmission. Miller recognized Vel from the Aquatic Consortium and the ethereal delegate. All of them looked stunned. How? Vel's translator conveyed her bewilderment. Our best scientists have been working on stable seventh-dimensional travel for millennia. The mathematics alone should have taken your species centuries to develop. Dr. Morgan's voice joined the conversation from the research station. We had an advantage you didn't consider. We approached the problem differently. While you were trying to perfect the technology, we were trying to survive. Necessity drove us to find solutions you never had to look for. The ethereal delegate's energy field flickered with what might have been confusion. The power requirements. The dimensional stress. How did you overcome the fundamental limitations? Miller exchanged glances with his crew. They had practiced this moment, but the reality was more satisfying than any simulation. We didn't overcome them. We accepted them. We built our ship to handle the stress instead of trying to eliminate it. We used our entire planet's power grid instead of trying to make the process more efficient. We took the risks you were too afraid to take. The transmission fell silent. For the first time in recorded history, the Galactic Council had nothing to say. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened within hours of the Defiance's arrival. The Great Hall buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from Sisi across the galaxy tried to understand what they had just witnessed. The impossible had happened. Humanity had achieved seventh-dimensional travel. Ambassador Krell stood at the central podium, his four arms gesturing frantically as he addressed the assembly. This changes everything. If humans can master seventh-dimensional technology, they could be anywhere in the galaxy at any time. They could bypass all our defenses, our borders, our carefully maintained balance of power. Unit 7 of the mechanical collective process the information with electronic precision. Analysis indicates human success rate exceeds all probability models. Their approach violates established dimensional physics protocols. Request immediate investigation into their methodology. The ethereal delegate's energy field pulsed with agitation. They used their entire planet's power grid for a single jump. Such waste is incomprehensible. Yet they succeeded where we have failed for millennia. Captain Miller watched the proceedings from the human delegation section, the Defiance holding. Positioned just outside the council station, Dr. Morgan had joined him via hologram, her image flickering slightly from the quantum communication link. "They're scared," Morgan observed quietly. "For the first time in their history, they're facing a species that developed faster than they predicted." Vel rose from her aquatic chamber, her translator conveying urgent tones. "The humans have demonstrated capabilities that threaten the established order. They must be contained immediately. I propose emergency protocols." "What kind of protocols?" Miller asked, standing to address the council. Krell's voice carried a note of desperation. "Complete isolation of the Sol system. No human vessel will be permitted to leave your local space. Your dimensional research must be surrendered to council oversight immediately." The hall erupted in agreement. Species after species voiced their support for containing humanity. The fear was palpable, spreading through the assembly like a virus. Miller activated his communicator. "Dr. Morgan, are you recording this?" "Every word, Captain. The galaxy is watching too. Our breakthrough has been transmitted to every human colony, every research station, every outpost. They can't contain what's already been shared." Miller stepped forward to address the council. "You're making a mistake. You're letting fear override wisdom." "Fear?" Krell's voice rose. "You appeared in the heart of our civilization without warning. You bypassed every security system, every monitoring station, every defense we've built over millions of years." "We came here to prove we belong in the galactic community," Miller replied. "We came here to show that humanity is ready for true partnership." The insectoid delegate from Hive Prime clicked its mandibles aggressively. "Partnership requires trust. Trust requires predictability. Humans are neither trustworthy nor predictable." Dr. Hayes's voice joined the conversation from the research station. "You want predictability? Here's what's predictable. Humanity will continue to grow, to learn, to explore. We'll do it with or without your approval. We'll do it with or without your help." The chamber fell silent. Miller seized the moment. "You've spent so long being the advanced civilizations that you've forgotten what it means to advance. You've become comfortable with your superiority. You've stopped pushing boundaries, stopped taking risks, stopped evolving." Unit 7's electronic voice cut through the silence. "Humans demonstrate unprecedented development rate. Current trajectory suggests technological parity within 50 years. Superior capabilities within 100 years. Which is why you need to work with us, not against us," Miller continued. "We're not going away. We're not going to stop developing. We're not going to accept second-class status in our own galaxy." The ethereal delegate's energy field flickered with what might have been consideration. "What do you propose?" "Full membership in the Galactic Council. Complete access to galactic technology databases. Equal representation in all decisions affecting galactic civilization." The hall erupted in protests. Krell's voice rose above the din. "Impossible. Your species is too young, too reckless, too dangerous." Miller smiled grimly. "Too dangerous? We just proved we can travel to the heart of your civilization without you detecting us until we arrived. We could have appeared anywhere, done anything. But we came here to talk. We came here to seek partnership." He paused, letting his words sink in. "The question isn't whether we're too dangerous to be your equals. The question is whether you're wise enough to make us your allies instead of your enemies." The transmission from Dr. Morgan carried a note of urgency. "Captain, we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the galaxy. It looks like multiple species are powering up their defense systems." Miller nodded. "The Council will vote on our proposal within the hour. Based on their decision, humanity will know whether we're joining galactic civilization or surpassing it." The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity had just announced its arrival as a galactic power. Asterisk, the vote was closer than anyone expected. After 12 hours of debate, the Galactic Council approved humanity's membership by a margin of just 3 votes. The galaxy would never be the same. Captain Miller stood in the observation deck of the newly constructed human embassy station, watching ships from across the galaxy arrive for the first joint technological summit. The Defiance hung nearby, no longer alone. 7 more human vessels had made the journey through 7th dimensional space, each one carrying teams of scientists and diplomats. Final report from the research committee, Dr. Morgan announced, joining Miller at the observation window. 17 species have requested access to our dimensional technology. The Vorthan Empire wants to establish a joint research facility. Even the Ethereal Collective has admitted they underestimated us. Miller nodded, but his expression remained serious. And the opposition? Growing stronger. The Hive Prime is building a coalition of species that want to limit our expansion. They're calling it the Stability Preservation Alliance. They claim we're disrupting the natural order of galactic civilization. Through the viewport, Miller could see the massive form of a Hive Prime battlecruiser taking position on the perimeter of the diplomatic zone. Its weapons remained powered down, but the message was clear. Not everyone welcomed humanity's rise. Dr. Hayes has an interesting perspective on that, Morgan continued. She thinks the real issue isn't our technology, it's our approach to problem solving. We don't accept limitations the way other species do, which is exactly why some of them are scared, Miller replied. They've built their entire civilization around careful, controlled progress. We represent chaos to them. The communication system activated, and Ambassador Krell's image appeared on the screen. His attitude had changed dramatically since the vote. Where once there had been arrogance, now there was cautious respect. Captain Miller, Dr. Morgan, I wanted to personally thank you for your patience during the integration process. The Council has approved the establishment of 3 joint research facilities. The first will focus on dimensional physics, the second on consciousness transfer technology, and the third on what we're calling adaptive problem-solving methodologies. Morgan raised an eyebrow. Adaptive problem-solving methodologies? Your species has a unique ability to find solutions under pressure that other species miss when they have unlimited time and resources. We want to understand how that works. Miller couldn't suppress a smile. You want to learn how to think like humans. In a sense, yes. The galaxy has been stable for too long. We've become too comfortable, too predictable. Your arrival has reminded us that progress requires risk, that advancement requires the willingness to fail. The transmission ended, and Miller turned to find Dr. Blake approaching with a tablet full of data. Captain, we've received requests from 47 species wanting to establish cultural exchange programs. 32 want to study human military tactics, and ... Blake paused, looking amazed. 18 want to learn about human art and literature. Art and literature? Miller was surprised. Apparently, our creative works are as revolutionary as our technology. The Crystalline Collective says our music contains impossible harmonies that their mathematics can't explain. The Aquatic Consortium wants to study human poetry because it expresses concepts that should not exist in linear thought. Morgan laughed. They're discovering that humans are more than just clever engineers. We're a species that dreams differently. A new voice joined. The conversation as Captain Red materialized via hologram from Earth. Which brings me to the reason for my call. The President wants to know if we're ready for the next phase. Miller exchanged glances with Morgan. They had discussed this possibility, but hoped it wouldn't be necessary so soon. The colony ships? Miller asked. Reed nodded. 50 vessels, each carrying 10,000 volunteers. Using 7th dimensional technology, we can establish human settlements throughout the galaxy within a year. The question is whether we should. The implications were staggering. Humanity could spread across the galaxy faster than any species in history. They could establish a presence in every sector, every system, every corner of explored space. The Council will see it as aggression, Morgan warned. Some will, Reed agreed. But others will see it as the natural evolution of galactic civilization. We're not conquering, we're expanding. We're not replacing, we're joining. Miller looked. Out at the ships gathered around the embassy station. Representatives from hundreds of species, some welcoming humanity's arrival, others fearing it. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was the catalyst. Send the colony ships, Miller decided, but make sure each one carries equal numbers of human and alien crew members. We're not expanding as conquerors, we're expanding as partners. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human integration had begun. And across the galaxy, civilizations that had laughed at humanity's ambitions were discovering that underestimating humans was the greatest mistake they could make. The cosmos would never be the same.